On behalf of the Center for Online and Continuing Education, it is indeed my great pleasure to introduce you to three really amazing people. We have joining us today to share information with you Mr. Willie Freeman, Abigail Perkins, and Denny Chang. So with that, I'm going to hand this over to the three of you, and we'll come back into this whenever we're ready for our next question. Thank you. And thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Well, good morning, everybody. And well, good afternoon now. I've been thinking about it all morning, so I can say good morning. We want to talk about the Online Faculty Innovation Hub today. And what we're hoping to do is first get some ideas about what you consider innovation, which is why we did the Slido. So as we start, we have a pretty good group in here. I'm hoping to hear from some of you your thoughts on what innovation is and what does innovation mean to you. We wanted to create something that, number one, does promote engagement for our online faculty. The concept of innovation is that of having limited resources, but still bringing about new outcomes so that you can stay relevant, respond to your users' needs, finding better tools. In this environment, interactivity is a very big part of it, and embodying creativity to implement new ideas is a major thing.
It's a great question. Love the concept of innovation, especially in technology. And I was thinking if I had the wherewithal without being limited to resources, I'm currently reading hundreds of pages of students' reports that are coming to an end. And if I could innovate a piece of software that could actually read and make comments in the rubrics that I'm looking for, I would be a really happy camper. So to me, innovation is anything that makes life easier and not necessarily simpler, but easier so that you can have more direct contact with students. Because I find that reading hundreds and hundreds of these reports, my head starts exploding after a while, and I'm wondering if I'm even writing the correct responses or comments. So innovation is anything that can improve a current way of doing things without compromising the product would be super. I guess that's just my answer to you, Willie. If that's just my one piece of, as I'm working on these reports, as my idea, excellent, innovative ideas.
All right. So what we envisioned is creating a situation where faculty in their online classes can actually go into an area and see what the newest technologies are to move us a little bit beyond just video or just text and just graphics in your courses, to take us to a deeper level of understanding for the things that we're working with. We're looking at bringing in 3D models. Imagine for biology classes and interior design classes, areas where your students, because they're online, they can't really walk into a situation and see things as much as if we give them 3D models, they can turn organs around on the screen and see all the different parts of it, look at different layers of a cardiovascular system in medical scenarios, in architecture, view layouts without having to be physically in the space. With chemistry, we've also delved into 360-degree videos where we give the viewer the virtual reality experience of being physically in the lab while the experiments are being conducted. So we looked at other places where faculty may be able to take students with them on location by sending along with 360-degree videos with them to make a more immersive experience, to make an interactive simulation for them. We are planning to build this, and we're doing the construction right now down on our Davie campus. And when it is finished, we're hoping to launch it in spring. We originally planned for the fall, but that was before the pandemic. So we're thinking about doing it in the spring to bring about a grand opening, to invite everyone to come down and see what we're doing, how we're doing it, and find out what our staff can do to further enhance not just those online courses, but also opportunities for online research and other innovations. And before I go too far along those lines, I wanted to stop and pass over to Dr. Abigail Perkins for a moment.
I can start by sharing my excitement for the Innovation Hub. This is a multifaceted opportunity, and I'm very excited to share some of the projects we're currently working on and enhance the theme of the conversation, which is really serving online faculty and students. What I want to do first is share a an award that we have recently won in partnership with Dr. Papia Badasharji. This is for a project that the Center for Online and Continuing Education facilitated. We facilitated the production of very innovative e-text, and Dr. Papia Badasharji is the e-text adaptation author. In the e-text, which is zero cost, no cost for students, it is available online for others to use in their courses, and it's instantly accessible for students so they can have the e-text available that first day of the class. In this e-text, the curriculum is specifically aligned with the curriculum of a course at FAU. So there's not that issue of, well, let's skip this section and put this other section first. It is all aligned with the curriculum of that specific course here at FAU. Embedded in the e-text are simulations, again, specifically aligned with the learning objectives and the curriculum of that course, as well as over 50 short Lightboard recordings. There are 2 Lightboards in the Department of Mathematical Sciences, which are these amazing pieces of innovative equipment in and of themselves that enable the instructor to stand behind and write where the presence is maintained and sustained, so students can see and have eye contact with their instructor while they can read the equations or the diagrams that the instructor is drawing. And we intricately aligned all of these Lightboard videos with the simulations, with the content, with the example problems, and the example sets in the e-text as one comprehensive, innovative product. And the production of the Lightboard videos was a wonderful experience. It involved pretty much the entire team and the Department of Mathematical Sciences for utilizing that Lightboard, and our e-text adaptation author, Dr. Papia Badasharji. This was really a wonderfully collaborative endeavor that is saving students money every semester. So that money can go back to the students to buy food, pay rent, pay for their tuition, and it's reaching a lot of students, which is phenomenal. And the instructors who have adopted the e-text have reported higher learning outcomes, higher learning satisfaction. So this is really a promising opportunity to explore for other courses. If you are hearing this and you're interested in pursuing something similar, we can certainly look into what might work best for you and your course and your students. So that's one more time. That's what this recent award is about from the United States Distance Learning Association. It's the 2020 Innovation Award. That was a quintessential collaborative endeavor. And if I may keep going, I'd like to talk a little bit about what Mr. Freeman touched on regarding labs and 360 videos. So a lot of us are encountering a new scenario, and we are interested in pivoting the perspective to see how can we utilize the change and utilize the pivot to better serve our students and better serve you as faculty. And one great example is labs. We're used to conceptualizing a lab as you physically go into the lab. You have your beaker, you have your metals and your instruments and your apparatus and your water and your chemicals that you use, your breadboard for an a microelectronics lab. And we're used to getting in pairs, doing these experiments in person with a TA, with a lab manager supervising, perhaps with your instructor, your professor as well. And now we're rethinking that perspective. And one way that we are going about doing that, one technique, is developing lab manuals in tandem or aligns with an e-design. An e-design is an online course that is designed with respect to high quality standards. And when we couple the creation of a lab manual with the creation of an e-designed course, then we are no longer restricted to that time element of having to have the lab manual, having to have the instructional material in tandem with respect to time. So we can really expand our options in how we want to deliver this instruction and how students can then engage with each other, with the instructor, and with the content. So this really is an opportunity to enhance the delivery of instruction instead of, oh, how do we figure out a one-to-one translation to meet the current situation that we're in. This is an opportunity to enhance and innovate. So
Thank
that's
you.
one specific example is the lab manuals, and I could go on and on and on. This is a wonderful hub that we have going here.
Yes, it's something we're all very, very excited about. The idea of being able to provide our students with a level of instruction where instead of it being that they are focused on how do I get something that I used to have in the classroom, we're hoping to elevate that to, wow, in this online environment, there are things I can do now that I couldn't do in a classroom. There are simulations we can engage in that may not be safe in a classroom, or we can go on location to places because when the professor went to that location and did that thing, we recorded it. We recorded it in an immersive environment so the student gets the experience of being there, whereas a field trip for 30 students a semester may not have been a possible scenario for them. Building interactive self-checks into courses so that students can find out how well they're grasping the material before a high stakes test. And those being able to be built in a way where it's not a new thing that the professor has to grade, it can give the student feedback automatically so the student has an idea of where they are and what they need to focus on. That's another thing that would be really, really helpful in our online environments that we wish to make available. Giving presentations an interactive component rather than it simply being here's a slide deck. What if your presentation involved some level of augmented reality where your student could take the one computer they seem to always have with them, their mobile phones, and engage in an environment and see dynamic overlays of data and simulations that they can interact with. Before I go any further, I don't want to forget that I've got Mr. Denny Chang here. Denny, can you speak a little bit about some of the technology that's involved in the hub right now, a few of the things that we have now? I keep saying 360 video camera, but I haven't really explained what that is. We've talked about some things with drones, the trip from last summer. There are things like that you'd like to share with the group.
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. So some of the technology that you can expect to see in the hub itself would be things that we currently offer, such as simple basic video recordings. If you want to record yourself in a split screen while presenting your material itself, we have a teleprompter available if you prefer to read the content or your script to keep the pacing right in your videos. Green screen if you like to replace the background behind you to something relevant to your topic. You can display locations, you can display content, you can display your PowerPoint maps, different type of imagery can all just appear behind you. You can even point to it if you like a meteorologist, things like that. And then just regular video like you would do. It's just a higher quality, I would say, of video production available to you for your course, for your students. And all of this gets edited by us and inserted into your course, or we just share you the link. So you can insert it wherever you like. You can insert it to multiple courses. Every time you teach, you can pretty much create a library for yourself for your courses. Some of the other technology is uh, somewhat like computer generated graphics. Some faculty have asked us for, can we do overlays? So for example, College of Medicine, they wanted to see if they can create a video where someone's doing a certain exercise and they can overlay the muscle to show what type of muscle is doing that. That's a type of technology that we're going to incorporate here. And then exploring some other things. We also like Mr. Freeman said, we do have 360 8K video cameras. So for chemistry, for example, it's sitting right in front of the bench, the chemistry bench, and the instructor just reaches around and everything in that space gets recorded. We have done this on location as well. I believe it was in Boca Regional Hospital. We once again worked with College of Medicine to create um, a scenario or an experience from the point of view of the patient. So this is more for training for students on how to conduct yourself and what type of scenarios actually happen in the hospital setting that you might not be aware of that the patient can see or hear. And just really just a lot of empathy training is what we worked on with that. But different types of technology that you think that would be great to have in your course, that's the type of thing that we can look into to see how we can help you.
So, some things to consider while we are entering our responses are the levels of immersion that you are interested in your students having. Would you like your students to have high levels of immersion, exploring a virtual reality environment? Or would your students benefit more from this specific content of perhaps augmenting a simulation to see the difference in two functions or two personal utility functions in economics? Maybe for that concept, it's more appropriate to just have a little slider. Or maybe you're more interested in providing your students a higher level of immersion. What would that look like in your course? How would you want your students to engage with the content?
We have a lot of really good responses here.
And we have a response here about real time with feedback. This might get to what at the beginning of the presentation George Grunfeld mentioned kindly with respect to assessment and helping with feedback. And this is definitely an area that the innovative hub can address. So we have the students engagement and then what feedback can be provided to the students in real time, also with utilizing the appropriate technologies.
So we appreciate your comments. Please feel free. Oh, there you go, Miss Abby. Gaming features, level progress bars, and badging. Yeah.
We have those opportunities to increase motivation, both intrinsic and external motivation, again, tailored to the specific needs of your course and the specific needs of your students. Does the innovative element capture more or support more of an external motivation, or does it support more internal motivation? Perhaps it supports both. What would that immersion look like?
I believe we have some nursing people joining us today. See the patient's response. I love
Ah,
simulated patient, of course. But as you were just mentioning, Abby, uh, the students to share their lived experiences. So we always want to tailor what we are doing within our courses to what our students are currently experiencing and how they're adapting our content to their own experience or adapting their experiences to the content. That's great. Again, please feel free to join us. And at the end of this, you will receive all of these responses. Ah, absolutely. Yeah, memorization is not learning. It really isn't. Yeah, what a great comments.
Not just memorize the homework problem. That really gets at the crux of a lot of pedagogical issues. If we are able to design an environment for the delivery of instruction where memorization of a homework problem is not even in the same sphere, that would greatly help students. Again, if it aligns with the specific learning objectives of the course. And when a student is really authentically engaged, then you have higher cognitive presence in your course, and the environment is less likely to support inert memorization. We want to foster an authentic engagement, not a forced engagement.
Indeed. And these things allow for a lot more scenario based, project based learning opportunities
Yes.
that in general may or may not have a lot of time to implement. So that instead of simply seeing if they've memorized the formula, if they've memorized the algorithm, delve into the why and the creation of the application thereof, the how. And when students can speak to why more than what, you can get a lot more evidence of a deeper learning that's going on there. When we can climb up Bloom's taxonomy, it's always a more robust experience for the student. Of course, those basics are required. They need an awareness of the things that have to be remembered or at least accessed. But as we move into the deeper application analysis, engaging things at a level where we can truly evaluate them, those things will stick with the students a lot longer in time.
Oh, look at that. Experiencing the AR environment remotely. I think that's a positive direction for us, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And
And
that comment hits on labs, being able to foster that partnership with a lab partner, your TA, by connecting remotely to a lab. That idea of that level of engagement is what I interpret when I read this quote. That's a very good point. And I'm seeing a theme here in these responses of really that learning by doing, which is a
yes.
fantastic way to go. Authentic learning by doing, project-based learning, problem-based learning that is integrated and grounded in the authenticity of the specific domain of the course. I'm seeing a theme in these responses. So this is wonderful that we're having this level of interactivity here.
So
Yeah, and I like the addition of art into the field as well, because almost everything that we ask our students to do can be an expression of creativity.
yeah, this is true, and it allows for a level of collaborative art creation, even in a digital environment. It allows for a level of collaboration in just about any area or field when you're able to bring people together virtually, even to share those ideas and to see dynamically in real time the development of a thing. I've seen students benefit just from working on group projects in Google Drive when they're all working on the same document and they can actually see each other's input and have that dynamic real time feedback. So, if that can work when they're working on a project that's simply text, imagine how much farther we can take it when they're moving into deeper and more expansive experiences. So these are the things the Innovation Hub is focused on. It's an online faculty innovation hub. What we really want to make sure we do when we open is be available to FAU's faculty who are delivering these online courses and invite you to come in, talk to us, see what tools we have available, and let's discuss solutions we can develop for you, things that we can do and interact together with. Just the e-text alone is a game changer for our university and for our students. Making textbooks affordable and even free to our students has research has shown always leads to more students completing courses. So many students don't buy a textbook because it's $1, $2, or $300, and they simply don't have the income to do that. So they choose instead to either go with an older model of the book, an older version, or to try to go without it. Imagine if, as a faculty member, you were creating the text for your course that was tailored exactly to your tacit knowledge and what you wanted to share with your students, and you could know that every one of them had access to it. Now, imagine that text with interactive features built into it so that it's not just something they're reading on their computer, but it's something they're interacting with, growing with, learning with. It's something that's challenging them in their educational pursuits. So I don't want to spend all of my time talking. I wanted to see if there were any questions anyone else had.
We have one that came in that says, do you have gaming tools for Canvas with the leveling and progress bars?
Oh, that would be wonderful. That would be absolutely wonderful. Right now in Canvas, there are progress bars, but we haven't gotten to leveling bars yet. But if that's something that the faculty are interested in, I have a feeling a few of our staff members exactly might be terribly interested in such.
Terribly interested. Terribly interested. One of my research backgrounds is in game-based learning, and that is certainly something that I would concur that we have interest.
This is absolutely true. So those are things that when we launch, we would be very, very happy to explore. And as with most of the projects, we want to have you come in, we want to talk to you about it, get an idea of what it is you're trying to do so that we can look into how to explore solutions with you and for you. With game-based learning, one of the things I find that the general population falls on two sides. Some have a strong grasp of what game-based learning is, and they're typically very excited about it. Others hear the word game and they think somewhere between sports or Pac-Man, and they think, well, this has no place in the classroom. When we talk about gamification, what we're talking about is giving as close to immediate feedback as we can for situations in which students will engage in willing challenges that have known obstacles baked into the challenge with a prescribed outcome that's attached to learning objectives. We're talking about situations where the student engages in something, they have a thing to accomplish, and if they're doing well, they find out immediately they're doing well through their progress. If they're not doing well, if it requires some kind of adjustment, they find out immediately that they need to do those adjustments in their process. And as they progress, the challenges become more and more challenging. The curve steepens. So one of the things that happens when we look at game-based learning, we're not talking about so much entertainment as that word has come to carry a connotation, as much as we're talking about challenges that increase with time, that give frequent and regular feedback and cuts down the time between the learner's decision and the learner's action versus the feedback for that decision. And we're talking about situations that they engage in knowing there will be some restrictions applied. And that's where that truest scenario of what gaming is comes into play.
What a great explanation, Willie. I think you're bringing someone, you're changing someone's perspective on what gaming is and how it can be applied into our courses.
It's a
Right.
serious form of engaging with the content, very, very serious, high quality, serious form. Albert Einstein said, play is the highest form of research. And that's what we're talking about here, is not a frivolous form of engaging with content, a very serious, authentic form of engaging in the online course. And on that note, with research, another item that we're interested in learning about how we could support you as faculty is, are there ways that we could connect reporting research, conducting research, doing research, that also can solve solutions to teaching online. So, for example, in reporting research results for an annual grant, the annual grant that is, say, from NSF, and every year you report your findings. Maybe there is an innovative way of approaching the presentation of your results that could also be used as a learning object or a learning dynamic that could be put into your course. So we definitely are thinking very broadly here and invite you to participate in thinking of opportunities. We are wanting to solve problems in optimal, unique ways.
Right.
So if we can help you, we want to be there. And that means if there is a link to research, let's see how we can help you. Come in. Let's explore what opportunities we have. Let's explore what solutions can be found. How can we serve you? So right now we really want to see how we can best serve our faculty and our students. If we can connect this to research, fantastic. Yes. If we can link research and learning together, beautiful. The
Right.
sky is the limit.
And I feel the fields of harvest for online related research are so ripe right now. So this would very much be the time to start exploring such things.
I can see how deliverables from the Innovation Hub could link to the broader impacts category of so many grants that really need the broader impacts to be funded. And often in the harder domains, that category is unmet, and thus that grant is not provided, is not earned. Where this could be, the Innovation Hub could be a link to connect research with teaching that hits on the broader impact, so more grants could be received.
The services that we offer, we aren't charging the faculty for those services. Much of it is tied more into how we can better serve our faculty and our students. So it's not, oh, we will do this for you if you have this amount of funding to put behind us. However, if the things that you're looking for involve tools or resources we don't have access to, we may have to explore how we can get, the funding for that access. But this is not a cost venture of we will be billing your department in order to work with you. What we really want to do is find the best ways to benefit our faculty and our online students. If you're working in an online course, if you're developing an online course, if you're already teaching one, if you're part of one of our online degree programs, if your research ties into your online education here at FAU, we want to talk to you. And that's kind of where I stand on the entire hub to start with. We're trying to remove barriers to entry. The resource barrier that would be our first barrier more would be time than money. We have a limited staff. There'll only be so many projects we can develop at one time. And when you're developing projects that involve any level of technology, it's not an instant thing. It's not really magical. It won't be something that can be done in 2 weeks, etc. However, that shouldn't be something to hinder your participation or engagement with us on a particular solution. We really want to interface with you and see what we can come up with.
It's just a housekeeping question. None of this will be available to us until spring 21.
The construction hasn't even finished yet for the Innovation Hub, for the physical space, until spring. Right now, up until the launch of fall classes, we are completely in emergency mode, working 10, 12 hours, nights and weekends, just to get all the courses that need to be offered online up and offered online. Going into fall, there will be a finishing of those as well. And hopefully, and we don't know what the rest of the fall is going to look like. But at the moment, we are very much dealing with the pandemic situation. And the construction was delayed in part to that. So we're looking at opening in the spring, is our hope. If you have ideas and things you'd like to discuss, don't hesitate to email me and we can try to start a conversation. But just frankly, personnel and resources, there's nothing that would be starting right now at all.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Dr. Badasharji, for those of us who missed the beginning, is our eText adaptation author for the award you're seeing on the screen. She is just a marvelous, miraculous, phenomenal faculty who is the adaptation author for the eText. So we are very grateful for Dr. Badasharji's hard work, which continues to support student success by quality instruction that reduces cost.
Hi, thank you so much. Thank you for showing the plaque. It was a wonderful project, and I'm so glad that Abigail and I worked together so wonderfully. So yeah, and I have now, after hearing you, I'm thinking, can I do something game based in my book? Let me start thinking about that. I'm excited like Abigail is. What can I do more, more interactive for students? Maybe we'll chat sometime soon. So
Wonderful.
thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. What a blessing and an opportunity.
Thank you for everybody for participating. We look forward to hearing from you in the future. Please stay safe and healthy.
My closing remark is similar. We look forward to engaging in future dialogue and seeing what we can do to serve you and your students and in your course. This is very exciting, and I hope that we hear from y'all.
Oh, thank you. And thank you all for joining us today. What an opportunity this has been. Thank you so much.